Ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome to this discussion panel, and here today we have an interesting story, we have an interesting discussion to share with you, to improve on your faith, to be able to help you. Are you down there, you have a problem? From this testimony we have here today with our sister Shekina, who's going to be sharing her story from how she was sickle cell and now she's free from that. So we are going to be discovering her. She's going to be telling us everything from the beginning till the end. So welcome, Shekina.
Thank you very much.
How do you do?
I'm fine.
Okay. I think the audience would like to know from your story. You were sickle cell.
Yes, from birth. You know,
Okay.
I was born SS.
So how was your childhood like?
Well, you know, as the children of my age, I could not play like a normal child. I was always sitting in a tight corner because you know, as a sickle cell patient, you cannot play anyhow. You should always be somewhere because when you move a lot, you're sick, you fall sick. So I could not play, I could not do sport. I was always very, you know, in my corner.
So how was it like in isolation? How was it psychologically? How was it for you? How did you feel at that point?
Yes, I felt very, very bad. It was because I can still remember the first day when I had to do sport in school.
Okay.
So I came back, I was excited and told Mom, well, I need my sport attire for next weekend kind of. Then she didn't say anything. The week after I came out, the day we had sports, I came, I said, Mommy, where is my attire? She said no.
What you're saying is that from small, you were not aware that you were sickle cell.
Yes, I didn't know. I was small. You know, when you're a small child, you don't know anything. Yes, I forgot.
But the feeling you not being able to do this thing, did it give you an instinct that something's wrong with you?
Not really. I was instead happy that I was the preferred child in the house because everything I want will be given to me, and my brothers were jealous. Like, why is it that when Shekina wants this, they will give it to her? You know, so I was a bit happy that well, I'm the preferred child, so no big deal. So it was like balancing.
Okay, now so moving now. When you couldn't do the sports, what happened after?
Okay, the thing is that as a sickle cell patient, you know, at times you have pains in the joints, in the ankle, all over. So my brothers were always, I would cry of pains and they would help me like massaging me. So I was like dependent upon them, and they would mock at me, you know, when I'm fine, they would say, oh, this one when you're sick, you're crying, you're making like this. And I was like, God, why not them? Why is it me, you know? Yeah, so that was how it was.
Okay, now but were they aware that
they knew it, but you know, children, they always laugh at things. You know, we were small, so they were like just kidding. But to me, it was hurting me because I was like, it's not my fault. It's not like I chose to be born like that. You know, it just happened like that.
So now, after your primary school, from what we have gathered, you were not yet a believer at that point.
Yes, I was not yet a believer, and at the time we were still in Catholic Church. It's not like I'm saying that all Catholics are not believers. Please don't misunderstand me.
Okay, I'm
but
sorry for that.
when we were in Catholic Church, our relationship with God was not as tight as it is now. So at that time, you know, my father is a medical doctor, so we have, you know, they are just pain things to kill or reduce the pain, but nothing to really heal the disease. So at the time we were going Catholic Church, but from there we moved to Église Évangélique. Then that's when we came to know the Lord. That's when my mother gave her life to Christ, and you know, we started going to crusades, conferences. Mommy and daddy anyway, they gave their lives to Christ, and they started taking me to programs for me to be prayed for. But at that time I had not yet given my life to Christ. I was just following them like, well, you know, it's daddy and mom, so they say get in the car, you get in the car, you don't argue. So a few years later I felt that maybe it can help me, maybe this is really the solution to my problem. So I really gave my life to Christ and really took the personal decision to build up that relationship with God. And at the time we were in Full Gospel Mission, God had moved us to Full Gospel Mission. And as I was there, I gave my life to Christ and I prayed. I was like, okay, God, where can I serve you in the church? Because it's not good to be in a church and just sitting down. I believe each of us can be effective in one department or the other.
But now, what was prompting you, like, not just sitting? Because you just knew, and
yes, it's
what
true.
made you to know that I'm not supposed to sit, I'm supposed to do something?
Okay, it's because of the message the pastor preached in church one day.
Okay.
So I was sitting like every other believer in the church, but he preached. He said one day he said there was a lady in the church who had pains in her back.
Okay.
So she prayed, and what she was doing in the church, she was cleaning the church, and the more she was doing it, the more she was feeling pains, you know. And a few years later, God had mercy on me and healed her from her disease. The lady.
Wow.
So I was like, hey, so maybe doing something for God can move him to, you know, yes, kind of think about.
So maybe you are like thinking that God is like, man, you want to like satisfy him.
Yes, he wants
you want to give him something to collect something. Wow, wow. So that was what that prompted. Okay, now, so from there, what were you doing? What were you doing now?
So then I joined the interpretation group in the church, group of interpreters.
Okay.
Yes, so I started working, interpreting messages, announcements, and all that. But the thing is that, you know, in our interpreters meeting, they always tell us to follow the speaker. Okay. Everything he does,
you don't.
Means
like that. And most of the evangelists,
yes,
always on fire.
Pentecostal churches, shouting, screaming, jumping, and you know. So I was following the whole thing, and it was not really easy for me. It was terrible because once I got home, you know, the nature, you know, my body now started paining me. I was crying. Until mommy used to tell me, well, you are not like others, so at least please remember, be careful, because you're doing all that, you are coming and crying, I'm the one suffering here. They are just enjoying you there, but I'm the one, you know. But I told her that I trust, that I believe that God is faithful, and they have asked us to do, you know, to follow the speaker in everything he does. Yes. And I can remember these movies, these ninja movies where they die at the war front. So I told her that I prefer to die at the war front. I prefer to die on the pulpit one day, but I know I would have done my duty before God. If God does not want to humiliate me, better die.
So that was like that was like your last boss.
Yes.
It's just like, okay, if God wants me to die on the pulpit, no problem. Let me say every man die there. Okay, so now how did that transform your life?
Well, I kept doing it. I believe because the word of God says they were healed by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. So what happened is that every time a man of God was praying for me, I went for the test. I never felt discouraged, even though many times I did it was still SS, but I still did it because I said God is faithful, God is not a liar. So I believe that one day it must change. So I kept on doing it every time. But then one faithful day, and also I used to testify. When a man of God prays for me, later when they say, who are those who believe, you know, I'll go and stand and say, no, I had sickle cell, I believe God has raised me before the whole church.
Wait. You were doing it by faith, not actually because
not like I've seen the test and the proofs, no.
That's really
just by faith. And then when I would fall sick, people will be like, so this is the lady, every day she's standing there and testifying, and you know, they will not say to your faith, but you know, kind of. So I used to do that at testify because you know that testimony also urged God to this girl is saying it though. Yeah.
So indirectly, you were taking the bull by the horn.
Yes.
You wanted it at all costs.
At all costs.
So that's why you were like doing the testimony before time. Because you wanted to force God to do it.
Yes, to do it by faith.
Wow, it's really wonderful. So now, how did it all happen?
Okay. How did it happen? There was a particular man of God who came from Nigeria to preach in the church. I cannot say he's the one who did it because I believe it has been something progressive, gradually. I believe all the men of God who prayed for me, God did, you know, but it was not something we could see at that time. So he came from Nigeria. I was the one interpreting him. So after the message, he said, who are those who are sick? You know, like, then he prayed. Then he said, those who are healed should come and testify. So I was like, you know me in this church, you know.
You always testify.
No, I always testify. This time around, God, I've done it, so you'll just. Then mommy was downstairs. She was urging me, Shekina, testify, you know. But I was very reluctant. I said, at least I used to do it. I didn't really. But she insisted so much. I said, okay. There was one lady who had AIDS as well. She came, she testified that she had AIDS. She believed that after this prayer, she believed she's healed. So as mommy urged and insisted, I also testified. So as we both testified, he prayed for us again. And as usual, I went to do my test. I went to daddy sent me to a first hospital. I went and did my test, my electrophoresis. I came back maybe 2 weeks later after he still sent me to another hospital. I was like,
at the first hospital, what was the result?
He didn't tell me anything then.
The doctor?
Daddy.
Okay, your dad.
Yes.
Okay.
He didn't tell me. I was like, what were the results of this? He said, no, don't worry, just go and do the other tests. So I went and I did the other electrophoresis. Then before the other results came out, I felt terribly ill. One of the in fact the worst crisis I ever. All my body, all over, the pains. I felt like I was dying the next minute. It was terrible, you know. But that was always encouraging me that don't worry, God is faithful. Don't, you know. It's when the other results came out that, you know, I brought it home. So he just started shouting. We were like, what is always saying that God has done it. Yes, that was my dad. Because he's a medical doctor, I didn't really know those things, you know. Yes. So he showed the first results that were AA. Then that's why he sent me to the, because it was like, no, that can be a mistake. You know, he's a scientist. They say, no, this thing you cannot. Yeah. He wants to be sure. So he sent me in another hospital. So the results confirmed the first results. AA from SS to AE.
Now, how was the feeling like to know that? Because I know sickle cell is something that it makes you to feel that you're closer to the grave.
Of course, because you even when you sleep in the night, you are afraid that
you might just feel that you're gonna die.
Not even about the death, but the pains. Because whenever you feel cold and the cold grips your bones, that's all. You just start feeling pain. So even at times, at times I used to sleep in the night. I'm afraid that so something it will catch me in the middle. So even to sleep, I could not.
So now,
it was terrible.
How was the feeling now? Were you convinced that you're now free from sickle cell?
My brother, if I can testify when I had the SS, though I was not sure.
No, you know, that was by faith, right?
Yeah,
that was
but I think that
you know, there is an inner feeling now.
Yes.
That were you confident? Were you really believing that you are now free?
Yes, I was. In fact, with all my heart. If before the healing, I could trust God and know God. Though that test is showing evidence, I believe that, you know, I'm healed. You know, so the confidence was really there. I was really like, no, God, you're faithful. We were just showing the faithfulness of God.
So now, how has been your life from before you got healed and now after you are now healed?
I want to really thank God because even when I was sick, I was, you know, looking at me physically, someone could never really say I had sickle cell. Except when I had crisis, my eyes were yellowish kind of. That's when you could really tell that no, there's something wrong with her. Yeah. So since then, I've been fine. I'm fine. God is faithful. And even the shape of my body, I was, you know, sickle cell patients are funny. I had a big stomach, I was slim, I've never been slim, but I had a big stomach and my body was not. But God is making me looking beautiful and sharp. So I'm enjoying life now.
So now you are confident that you can live from now till the next 20
yes,
or
you know,
30 years or whatever.
And the thing is that the funny thing with this is that I was telling God, I thought maybe God will heal me when I'll be like 80, when I will have my old bones, He'll be sorry for me. So I didn't expect the healing now. Yes, truly. So God works in wonderful and
wow. So it's been a wonderful discussion with you. But now there are people out there who have receiving, who have the same thing, who are going through different problems. But now there is something that brought about your healing. It was faith.
Yeah, the faith.
Now, what do you have to tell the people watching you today from your story?
Well, I would say it has been a very long journey and not an easy journey at all. But what I can say, and I can encourage each and every one of you, the church or the kind of messages you listen to can build your faith or mar your faith. So I will not ask you to leave your Catholic church just for leaving the church, but find speakers, listen to messages that will build your faith. Because if you don't have a kind of faith, you cannot receive a kind of miracles. To receive this kind of miracles, you must develop your faith. Because many people, when I say, they are like, well, are you sure? Is it true? I want to show the proof because, you know, at times people like wondering, they want to see the proof. This is the test of 1996, showing my electrophoresis in 1996 when I was still SS. The normal electrophoresis, this is the normal, that's AA, and the SS was my result. And this is for the year 1997 to really show that I was ill, because some people are like, they want to see, and I think we must show that our God does miracle things. So this is the last test I did. I didn't do the two tests. One is enough. This is in 2005 I got healed. So that's the proof now, that God has done it. God has not just removed one S, but He has removed the two S's. So I really want to encourage you, Don't think it's fake. Just trust God. If you believe God can do it for you, He will do it for you. Just give Him a chance and develop that personal relationship with God, because it's not something that just happened in one day. Just develop that relationship with Him and believe that He can do it for you, and He will do it for you.
Wow. So we've been able to hear it all from her. It's been a wonderful story. It's been a wonderful time with her. I myself am moved. There is nothing that is impossible. You just need to believe, as she has said. This is coming as an encouragement to you. It's coming as a motivating factor. Just believe, no matter the problem, no matter the circumstance, all you just need to do is believe, and it's possible. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We know you're enjoying your life now.
And I want to say that I'm a conference interpreter. Okay. I was trained as English, French. I go both ways. So my life is wonderful, taking another turn for God.
Okay, so she's getting to the next level for her life.
Amen.
And she's fulfilling her dreams, you know.
Amen.
So we want to thank you very much. We wish you the best. We want to see the same testimony working for you.
Thank you. Bye bye.